Hey you guys, mhnbysheterram here, Goddess Intuition. Okay, you guys, so just a while ago I was doing some research and I was getting ready to do some writing pertaining to my Goddess Intuition page. And what popped in my head was abuse. And so, and I'm not just speaking about the abuse that we commonly see, whether it's physical or any mental. I'm talking about the little small bits and pieces that we miss. And it's really damaging that we don't even get a chance to see what's really happening until we actually leave out of the situation. And so it's kind of like, pertaining to relationships, our childhood, and other things of that nature. We don't really recognize what abuse is. All abuse is not visible sometimes. And because we don't have any knowledge of the abuse or what it really is, we tend to look past it. So, I'm sorry, I was just getting another download. And if you guys don't know what a download is, I'm learning to work with my intuition more and learning about working with energies more and reading energy. So that's what that is. But what I really wanted to explain a little bit is that anytime that you've done any self-healing, self-work, self-love. I speak a lot about self-love because obviously we've all experienced some kind of form of abuse, whether we was the abuser, whether we was the victims of it. And it will lead you into self-love and, self-care and taking care of yourself more and being around people that are more healthier for you. But in order to experience what self-love is, you have to actually lose yourself and not forget about yourself, but you have to lose yourself to something that's on outside of you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's some kind of what I want to say, what's the words I'm looking for? It can be family situations, friendships, anything that's pertaining to dealing with people and relationships. So, and it could even be a business, career, or some sort. But what I really wanted to touch on is that it's really, really difficult to know what you're experiencing at the time when you're in it, because we tend to not touch on certain situations, or we tend to suppress certain things. Like our intuition, if something isn't feeling right within our spirit, or if we are around certain people and it doesn't feel good, we tend to just say, well, maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe nothing is too much is that's going on with them. They just probably not feeling it today, or they're not just, present. But sometimes it can be that people are dealing with some form of their own hurt. And most of the time when we're dealing with our own hurt, we suppress it, and then it comes back up in our relationships. So whether we dealt with abuse as a child, or some kind of childhood trauma, or what am I trying to say? Any childhood trauma, any kind of adolescent stage, or any kind of earlier adulthood, we tend to suppress it because we want to get away from it, because it doesn't feel good. It isn't healthy, so we tend to run from it. And a lot of the times, if we don't deal with what's happening and what's going on, we will bring it up, or we will pick up different attributes from the abuser, or whoever it was that caused this kind of pain in our lives. So it's really important to trust your intuition when your intuition is speaking to you, as far as what doesn't feel good, what has you questioning someone and their motives. Because I'm going to tell you something about energy. Energy flows, whether it's something that is toxic or whether it's something that is healthy. And a lot of the time, when we are dealing with toxic, um, when we are dealing with toxic, it's kind of a high and a low. You know, it's like we love the person that make us feel good in that moment, but then when we experience uh, the backlash of something that we did or something that we may have said, and we know that we was just expressing ourselves, um, it will have us trying to replace that feeling with talking to ourselves like as if we was the problem. And in reality, we don't be the problem. It be like the person and them dealing with whatever they have dealt with, and they didn't deal with it in a healthy manner. They just probably suppressed it, and they just went on and they got into a relationship, and you know relationship after relationship, and no one has stood up to these kind of people. No one has even brought it up to these people, whoever it may be. It could be, like I said, it could be an ex, it could be somebody in a relationship. And a lot of the times we take up on that and we carry that with us, and then we end up getting into a relationship, and then we express things that isn't healthy, or we express things that we have taken, which is baggage from past relationships. And so what I really wanted to get into really is just, if you've done any kind of self-work, whether it's you getting away from, like I said before, toxic people or anybody that isn't healthy, and you know that you're trying to move to a healthier place and become more balanced, you really have to look at the situation not from an emotional standpoint, but from a, um, a logic and a practical way of thinking. Something that is not so emotional. Because when we think about our emotions, we tend to think about passion and thinking about the things that we love, or things of that nature. So we may think that we love a person, and we might do when we're in those kind of relationships, but we feel a lot of the times that we can fix people and that we can help people, because naturally we are all healers. But I'm here to tell you that that's not your responsibility to do so. So please don't make it, and don't take it up on yourself to try to fix anyone that is broken, or that is dysfunctional. Like I've said, we've all experienced some kind of dysfunction, you know, and it's up to us to want a better life. It's up to us to want to take that responsibilities to become better. So, um, really get to yourself and know what you really want. And I say that with an urgent, um, I say that with urgency, because sometimes it'd be too late. Sometimes um, we be too involved. We get too caught up, and it's really hard for us to pull away. So sometimes when we see the red flags, it's not for us to just look past and say, well, that person, they may just need more love, and I'm here to do that. But it's difficult because we are light workers. Most of us, we express a lot through our caring, but sometimes you just have to leave people where they are for them to learn it on their own. That's not for us to do. And it's so hard because these people, I'm not saying that they're low and they don't have any good in them. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that um, most of the time it can be a lesson for both. And it's what you learn and what you take from the situation and from the relationships. And how can you apply something positive out of the circumstance? And that's you finding yourself, you creating healthy boundaries for yourself, and you loving yourself enough to remove yourself from the situation, deal with the grief of losing whatever it is that you have lost, dealing with the process, and trying to heal, and that, like I said, it comes along with whether you have to remove yourself from that person, if you're living with them, if you're working with them, you know. And it's kind of hard because sometimes we get into relationships with people and we have children and things of that nature, and it's something that's really delicate. But even then, some people are better parents than they are in a relationship. So it's a lot of different topics that can come from you know um, this subject. So that's a whole nother different video. But I know, just for myself, and even dealing with like other people and seeing what they've learned and what they have went through in their relationships, they were better off as friends, or they was better off as um, just coexisting, but it really boils down to people and what it is that they are carrying with them. It's a lot to take in. We think that we see a person and we love them and all of that, and that might be true, like I said before, but it isn't our true nature to keep on dealing with pain. We have to heal in order for us to move along and be healthier and live our best lives. We have to make sure that we are really looking at what it is that we need for ourselves. And a lot of the time, some of these people, they will use you for whatever it is that you're worth, and then they will dispose you and go on to the next person and go on to the next person. That's what I was making a topic of discussion about, you know. And these people, whether they know it or not, they're hurting people, and it's not healthy. It's not safe, and it's really toxic, and it's really abusive. Whether it's on a lower scale of the matter or on a higher scale. And you really have to judge the situation from a logical, practical scale. No one is worth your happiness. I don't care how much you love them. No one is worth your stability. No one is worth your mental state as far as leading a healthy lifestyle. So there's a lot to go into. I will be speaking more about this kind of topic and subject because, like I said, mostly I speak about self-love and, the tools to get into that healthy space and everything. But it's like, before I get to the self-love, the things that I have to deal with and the things that I have to clean up with, or the things that I have to clean up inside of myself. What is that? And how do I get to the root in order to clean that up? So, again, my name is mhnbysheterram, Goddess Intuition, and I will be speaking more about this subject. And if you want to, I will be leaving everything in the description. I'm on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm active in on all social media platforms. And like I said, I'll be leaving them a description down below, so you're able to um, look more into, just having a conversation about it, opening up the dialogue, because it's not really spoken about. A lot of people, they speak about the aftermath, and us getting to a healthy space and becoming more healthier. But it's like we can leave from a situation, but we can leave from a situation, but it's easily to get back into it dealing with different people, not just maybe the same person, but just with other people, and not looking at the red flags when we need to identify with them. And let me just say this real quick before I get off. So much is the topic is narcissism, and what is narcissism in people. It's a lot of different, it's a broader scale on a lower end to a higher end of narcissism, but what it means and how purposely someone can be hurting you and just really breaking you down, especially if you were a confident person, but you get into a relationship with a person and it's like they praise you, and then they be so quick to, as far as put you on a pedestal, and then break you down slowly but surely, and then that leave you depleted and leave you wondering, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Am I lovable? What's happening? And because we don't know what's really going on, or even have a knowledge to understand, or the intellect to under, understand on a broader scale of what to look for, sometimes we leave from one situation and go back into the next one with the same toxic energy and dealing with the same thing. So I'm going to get more into this subject, like I've stated before, and I will be speaking with you guys later on.